Hey guys, Angela, owner Healthy Body Bakery. This week we're going to talk about the pitfalls of gluten-free. Like keto, am I against gluten-free? Absolutely not. But what happened is our grandparents chose convenience. They were born in the 20s, I'm in my mid-50s. So in the 40s when they started genetically modifying food, hybridizing wheat, adding chemicals and for longevity of life, food dyes to make them look better, high glycemic foods, high fructose corn syrup to make them taste palatable but still be cheaper. All this was a convenience to our grandparents. And they had it so rough up to that point, they did not realize the ramifications of their choices. My parents grew up in that world to where it was just, my mother tried very hard. We had breakfast at 6 a.m. We had dinner at 6 p.m. But it was tuna helper. And my mom, I thought, could cook. She enjoyed cooking. She just wasn't taught to cook like we know is the right way to cook. Her heart was right, but she did not know better. And that generation started to pay the price. And then our generation, let alone my kids' generation, who's really stepping out going, wait a minute, time out. We're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to deal with the rise of diabetes and all the inflammation disorders that come with processed foods. So in that movement, we were, boom, gluten-free, 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 gluten-free's the answer, gluten-free's the answer. It's not. No wheat, no corn, no soy, different topics for different times. But today's topic, when you say gluten-free, I'm going to challenge you that I think you mean, and this is not talking to the celiacs, this is not talking to some people that have been diagnosed with Hashimoto's is a newer thing. Maybe it's been around for a long time, but it's just really starting to make into my phone calls. Okay, I have Hashimoto's disease. What should I do? There's a few people that need to be, celiac being the number one, cannot do gluten. It is a disease that they are triggered when some people, even when they're around or breathe gluten of any kind. It has nothing to do with the hybridization of wheat. Easy for me to say. Celiac is a disease. But a lot of us have the disease. We have the gluten-free disease, where we're just saying it sounds good. Our doctors, and I'm not ditching doctors, too bad here, but quite often doctors are the least educated people on nutrition sometimes. Now, a lot of us have went to going to holistic doctors because we don't want to deal with the doctors that just want to prescribe a medicine or cut something out. So many doctors have told people to go gluten-free because and the ones that are knowledgeable don't want to go into the whole ramification of what it would take to spend their time to teach you. It's easier for them just to tell you gluten-free. But what they mean to say, what I'm challenging you to hear, is we want to be hybridization wheat-free, modern-day wheat-free. Because what happens, the bandwagon gluten-free deal is not just happening to those of us that say, oh, I can't deal with gluten, which you mean you can't deal with wheat. I'm having all these inflammation disorders from gas and diarrhea and yada, yada, yada. You have hurt yourself because the bandwagon of the markets out there are taking advantage of you, and they're with all the potato starch and the different chemicals and the high glycemic stuff. High fructose corn syrup is gluten-free. Chemicals, potato starch, they're gluten-free. And what happens is you are only looking for the gluten-free label versus the ingredients that are in the gluten-free product. So with that said, stop, look, read, educate yourself on the negative side effects of some of these gluten-free products, what they have in it and what they're doing to you. Because what happens is you come off wheat to jump into poor gluten-free products. You bring on diabetes. You bring on different kinds of inflammation disorders. But sometimes it takes a while because you're just still dealing with not having gas or bloatedness from being wheat-free. But stop and take a look. If you want to be gluten-free, there are gluten-free ancient grains, millet, amaranth, buckwheat. You can make some banana muffins with millet flour that you can get online, at the Amish. I have several gluten-free grains, Christian Nourish Marketplace, probably Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. These places have these healthy grains. Beans are gluten-free. Like our gluten-free at Healthy Body Bakery, we're garbanzo bean, fava bean based. We do have some of the starches in there to make the flavor amazing, but they're low down on the list. And when you come in and if you ask me, and if you tell me you're diabetic, what have I told you? I say sugar-free is always a no-brainer, but our 100% dark rye grain, our ancient grain, has also been highly beneficial for diabetics because dark rye grain is the only grain that reverses diabetes. Check that out, do some study. But I'll tell you to stay away from our gluten-free line because it's higher glycemic. So stop, let's read labels. I would like to introduce to you gluten-free peeps to take a look at spelt and dark rye grain. You're missing a huge nutritional portfolio benefits from these two grain by saying, nope, no how, no way. And you wear these horse blinders and you just say gluten-free, gluten-free, gluten-free. If you're not one of the people that are taking the time, like we talked about healthy keto, if you're doing healthy, gluten-free, high five, power to you, keep going. But take a look at dark rye, the ancient grains if you're not already using them. But if you're wearing the blinders, come on, let's take those off and don't bring on a different problem just because you've chose to be gluten-free for gluten-free sake. I said a lot in a longer video than normal, trying to help and do my part. God bless. Happy Monday to you. See you next week.